let's get started with some basketball. Rich Paul, LeBron's agent, the super agent, and all this stuff, had some sound, and this was a story about LeBron James and whether or not he's the GOAT, and if people don't think he's the GOAT or not. He had some words for people. Let's hear this.
You got LeBron. He used to drive me crazy with this. And that's why I came up with the tick on television. When I said, great dad, great husband, great director, great actor, great businessman. I did all of that. I said, did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? Because I got him as the second best player in the history of basketball. I got him ahead of Kareem. I got him behind no one but Jordan. And I said to Mr. Chirper himself, Rich Paul, my boy, and I said, you act like that's an insult. This dude, it is an insult. I said, get the out of my face. Get the out of my face. This is exactly what I said to him. I don't want to talk to you no more. You can't talk to me about it. When you going to treat me like I'm disrespecting a man by calling him in the history of the game that started in 1947, you're going to tell me that I am disrespecting a man by having him number 2 all the time. You have lost your damn mind. I'm not talking to you.
And Stephen A. is 100% on point. That was the Paul George podcast. What is it called? Project P or something?
Podcast P.
Podcast P for Paul George. But let me start here, Dave. Rich Paul, this is where you become too close to it. I get it. He's your boy. He put you on, and you can't look and be honest about anything. But to say being considered number 2 behind Michael Jordan is insulting is totally ridiculous. And that's why you can't listen to people who are not objective, who have skin in the game, who are friends, buddies. You see this a lot of times. People don't like the writers and the other people who are not, Dave, attached to the game, but that's the reason why. You need independent thinkers who are not buddies with people, and that's what this is. It's not an insult. It's unbelievable that LeBron is number 2 when you think about all the great players who have played in the NBA. And look at this. I don't know what's up. And look at this. So many of his own peers don't even have him, Dave, in their top 10. Like peers, guys who play with LeBron. I think that's disrespectful not to have him in the top 10 or think he's one of the 2 or 3 greatest players of all time. But to say being behind Michael Jordan is disrespectful is just nuts to me.
So, Rob, Stephen A. was literally one question away from really getting into it. He should have asked Rich Paul, what exactly is disrespectful? What are we talking about? Are we talking about the full scope of the LeBron James experiment? Or are we just talking about championships or who scored the most points? What are we talking about here? Because when I look at LeBron, Rob, I think LeBron is a special player, special person. Has there ever been another guy like LeBron? Or the next guy coming is there anybody coming up right now that we say, man, he a lot like LeBron?
No, not for what LeBron does.
For what LeBron does,
right?
Right. So LeBron's special. But we could say, well, has there ever been another guy like Michael? And what's the first thing people say? Oh, Kobe. We've seen the closest thing to Michael Jordan.
Well, because Kobe emulated Michael, even the way he sounded, walked.
Listen, Rob, there's a lot of guys and a lot of youngsters try to emulate Mike.
Remember the commercial? I want to be like Mike. Remember that?
You can want to be like Mike all you want to. You can try to emulate all you want to. But we've seen the closest thing to Michael Jordan. And that's why you have a lot of people that would put Kobe number 2.
There's no doubt about that. There's a big Kobe faction out there.
Here's what's unfair, in my opinion, is stop comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron James. And I think it's unfair. And then I also think, too, you and I, we didn't see Oscar Robertson.
Right.
I mean, I was fortunate to be around some of the older players, some Knicks, and they were talking about how great Oscar Robertson was. He's not even on my radar. But from what I understand, Oscar Robertson was a great player. But we grew up in an era of Jordan, right?
No, I agree. Wait a minute. I'm going to stop because I'm going to say this to you. As a baseball player, you didn't see Babe Ruth play. But you know this guy was a special player. Would you at least acknowledge
they
that?
They told me he was special.
Okay, they did.
Yes.
But when you saw the numbers and you know what went on,
yep.
you don't go, no, he wasn't. Nobody. I've never, even today when they do a baseball list, he's always on that list.
Yeah.
Because his numbers were so much better than everybody else.
Do they say he's the best player ever?
No.
Exactly.
And you don't get that, but he's in that list. Okay. And I think it's wrong that players of today try to discount all the older players who came before them, because if you put Babe Ruth with the nutrition and the travel and you know, he was an athlete. You know this, Dave. Eye-hand coordination is in the major leagues. The hardest thing to do.
Obviously, he was a great player. He was the best of whatever was available at that time.
At that time.
He was one of the if not the greatest, one of the greatest of that time, correct? What I'm saying when you talk about LeBron and you talk about Jordan, we grew up during Jordan.
Sure.
And my joke is if Jordan makes it to the arena, if I look out there and I see Jordan in the layup line, I know we're winning.
And see,
we're going 6 for 6, you see? Special. Here's the question I would ask you.
Okay.
And I would ask anyone listening. Give me your 4. Give me your 4 best. I'll give you my 4 best. We're going to reserve the 5th spot for either Jordan or LeBron. Okay, now, once we get to the 5th spot, you can talk all you want to. We got one game. It's game 7.
You already know.
Who are you going with? Jordan or LeBron?
And it's going to be Jordan 9 out of 10 times.
Everybody that grew up with Jordan is going to say Jordan.
Right, but even people today, they understand how great LeBron is, but you don't have those moments, clutch moments. Dave, I covered that game in Cleveland where he made that shot against Craig Elo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
I watched both Michael's career and LeBron's career in my 37 years. I was covering the NBA then before I started covering baseball.
Jordan is the greatest champion between the two of them.
Greatest champion, but he's the greatest player. Greatest player. If you watched The Last Dance, you saw what he told Steve Kerr, right?
I know.
It wasn't like he gave up the basketball because he was afraid to shoot it.
Yeah.
What'd he say? Steve, be ready.
No, I got you.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think everybody feels the same with LeBron when he gives up the ball late in the game, Dave, because they feel like he don't want it. He don't want to get fouled and have to make free throws with the game on the line. Like, why are you giving up the ball to a lesser player? Whereas in the case with Jordan, I never believed that he was afraid to have that ball when it mattered most. And he wasn't going to be a guy to force up a shot with 3 guys around him when he's telling Steve Kerr before the play, be ready.
Yeah. Look, last year when the Lakers were in the playoffs, if you watch that series, every time LeBron takes it to the rack, he's either going to score or he's going to get fouled.
Right.
Like, you're not stopping LeBron going to the basket. And I was sitting and watching with Laker fans. I was at the series. And they themselves, big-time Laker fans, why won't he just keep going to the basket?
Cannot be stopped.
It cannot be stopped. They're going to foul you. If they foul you, we get them in foul trouble.
And you make free throws, right? Or you're going to make the basket.
So what stops him? He's not afraid. You're not going to tell me that LeBron James is afraid. I'm not going to believe that.
All right,
no.
It doesn't make sense.
I just think that
Dave, you play basketball
too much.
Some guys don't want to. Some guys don't want to be up there. I'm going to tell you.
Think LeBron? If this was baseball, you think LeBron doesn't want to be up there with the bases loaded and the game on the line?
I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced that he?
I'm not convinced because I've seen him give up the ball in situations. Rob G, I don't know if you remember this. I'm trying to remember. It was a game against, I believe it was the Warriors, and they were winning that game. LeBron had the ball. Draymond Green was in front of him in foul trouble, right? They were up by 3 with the basketball. All he has to do is go at Draymond, right? Get his 6th foul or Draymond's got to step aside or what. He passes the ball to who's the 3-point shooter from Philadelphia who played Corver. I don't know if and then he missed it.
Yeah.
And then they wound up losing the game. And I just looked at that. That was a moment, Dave, right?
But if Corver makes it, we're not talking about it.
But you don't need Corver to make that. You're up by 3 with the ball is what I'm saying. And you got to know the situation. Draymond's in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Right, Dave?
Yeah.
What is he going to do? Draymond's got to step aside. Are you going to step aside? Or you going to
So again, you're bringing up a moment in which LeBron obviously wasn't thinking that because
how could you not be thinking that is what I'm saying? Like
you're thinking about something else.
That's the game right there in front of you, and that's what I'm saying. There's moments like that I don't understand it. I'm not a basketball player, but I know the game, and I've watched enough games. You're in control. You just said it. They can't stop him. He can't be stopped.
I personally don't understand why LeBron isn't more aggressive. Definitely late in the game. Definitely when you got these mismatches. I mean, LeBron's 6'8", 260.
Can't be stopped.
Especially when he got a hit of steam up. He cannot be stopped going to the basket. So it doesn't make sense to me why he would not just attack.
And see,
okay? And that would be one of another reasons why I'm putting Jordan ahead. But back to Rich Paul. Look, LeBron is a very loyal guy. It makes all the sense in the world, coming out of Akron.
No, and he set his guy up. I love it.
You know what I mean? And honestly, a lot of us that grew up in those kind of neighborhoods, we got our boys. And if my friends would have showed any type of initiative
to do the same, right?
That LeBron's boys showed, heck, I probably would have had him with me as well. LeBron's going to stay loyal. Rich Paul is loyal to LeBron.
I get it.
That's his boy.
But I'm going to say this.
But we got to ask Rich Paul, what was disrespectful? Because you saying Jordan's number one, just across the board. What's disrespectful? Because for LeBron, LeBron's got the school. LeBron is very socially aware. Has no problem putting himself out there.
All that stuff is great.
All that is beyond great. It's beyond great.
I love all that.
It's beyond great.
Right.
Because LeBron has such a powerful impact in the world right now.
But it doesn't mean that Michael Jordan isn't better than him. And
I agree.
And that is disrespectful. All right, here's the other thing too. This is what rubs fans the wrong way too, is that LeBron always has his minions out there, doing his bidding. He's a great player. He shouldn't have to do all that. Like every time you hear some of that stuff, it drives you crazy. But here we go.